Well, welcome, Kevin. Thank you so much for coming on.
Of course.
I am stoked to have you, first off, because I like to eat. So I have things I want to pick your brain about in that arena.
Mhm.
And also, I have been to Machete before, and now you're opening up Yokai, which I'm a lover of all things Asian food, so I'm stoked about that. My first and really only question to kick it off is, why Japanese food?
Well, for one, and like one thing that we have to figure out how to clarify this, but like for one, we're not a ramen shop.
Yeah.
Or we're not claiming to be a ramen shop. And we're not really even claiming to be like a Japanese restaurant. It's inspired by a Japanese izakaya.
Gotcha.
Which is kind of your like I really don't want to relate it to like places we have in America because it's just
Not the same.
different.
Yeah.
But it's that more casual, affordable place that like all of the, middle class, they get off of work, they want to
Yeah.
have a drink and get some food that's not going to, kill their wallet.
Yeah.
Like that's an izakaya.
Yeah.
And, typically izakayas will have very wide ranges of food that they serve. A lot of them will have a lot of American food.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like potato salad, a lot of mayonnaise heavy
yeah.
stuff. And then a lot will have like a full list of ramen bowls you can get.
Gotcha.
So we're kind of going for that. Like we're very much, Asian inspired.
Yeah.
But like we have tater tots with queso on them on the menu.
I mean,
like we're not
should.
claiming to be anything traditional or we're really just having fun and putting a lot of the flavors we love together with techniques that we love to use.
Yeah, I think that's killer, and I think that Greensboro can use more of that.
Mm-hmm.
And I was trying to think of even Machete, for instance. Like, I don't know of another restaurant around here that is going to offer that same type of feel.
Yeah.
The combinations that you put together and the type of food, which again, for Machete, in my viewpoint, isn't put into a narrow box either. It seems pretty broad as well.
Yeah.
It's really cool to me as someone who could not cook. Not kidding, couldn't boil an egg until 5, maybe 6 years ago now.
Yeah.
It is stunning. And the only thing that I had seen of like behind the scenes actual chefs cooking is going to be in movies and TV shows and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'm a highly anxious person. And
Same.
Really, I would have that seems like the most high stress, anxiety inducing job ever.
Lately, yeah, it's really been present.
And you're opening up that is a huge deal. A whole new business, a whole new thing to run. I saw that you guys were, as per usual, issues with city liquor license and all of that fun stuff. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The whole gambit of perceived problems, but it really is kind of run of the mill.
Yeah.
Used to dealing with it type of stuff. When you have to cook at home after you leave that stressful environment, is that relaxing at all, or is it more work?
No, I mean, my fiance does most of the cooking at home. She also loves to cook, and she's an amazing cook. And she knows that, it's kind of the last thing I probably want to do.
Yeah.
Sundays or Mondays are more my day to cook because I'm like, I've decompressed from the week, and I'm like, let me cook something that's like comforting to me, like Italian or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, last night I got home late and I think I just put together like the quickest sandwich like I could shove in my face.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because I knew that I physically needed to eat from just not having time all day. And obviously I wasn't about to like dirty up the kitchen and
have to go through all of that.
An hour, I just want to sit down.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. And I hats off to you because that I could never. I'm still stressed out just cooking for me and my fiance. Like the pressure is real, and I'm still so extremely new, like with techniques and things. Like I realized what browning meat actually meant about a year and a half ago. I mean, we're talking bare bones here.
Yeah.
And it's really cool to see the amount of skill that goes into even just a small plate.
Yeah.
And the fact that you have to perfect that and make it repeatable is my nightmare. That seems like I would wake up in the middle of the night freaking out about a sear on something.
Yeah.
I really baking has kind of been easier for me, weirdly enough,
Okay.
just because to me it makes more sense. Recipes, it's like kind of improv and you can do whatever. I hate
Mhm.
that. I want you to tell me exactly how much,
Yeah.
weigh it in grams, how long I'm cooking
Yep.
it. When any recipe says cook until done, I'm like shaking. How did you make, well, I guess you didn't make yourself, but how did you start to get more confident in that arena? Have you been cooking forever?
It feels like now.
Really?
I mean, yeah, like when I was younger, like still in high school or whatever, I used to love just like grilling,
Yeah.
marinate chicken and grill it. I loved like taking over a lot of that
Yeah.
for the family. I think my confidence level just kind of grew over the years as I was validated for my cooking,
Hmm.
like people saying how like your
This is
food's
good.
amazing, like
Yeah.
it's very validating and it makes you it keeps you from constantly like second guessing yourself.
True, true. Yeah. I I love when that happens still. And because for me, cooking anything more than Hamburger Helper and being successful is
Hmm.
like peak of Mount Everest.
Yeah.
And it's fun to watch other people learn that too. I think especially when like during lockdown, everyone decided to learn how to make bread
Yeah,
suddenly
like
and
the banana bread and the
yes. Oh
sourdough.
my gosh, yeah.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed kind of seeing a collective culture that had gone so far into like supermarket and fast food,
Hmm.
realizing like, oh, these skills are important.
Yeah.
Like being able to cook for yourself is kind of a life and death skill.
Hmm.
And if you don't have it, what are you going to do should a scenario like that happen?
Yeah.
And that is when it really kind of hit for me like, oh, this is like an important adult thing that I should probably have a little bit more breath on. And it's still something that I see. And I went down a deep dive rabbit hole as one does into because you start to learn how to cook, then you start to look at ingredients. Then I'm on regenerative farming websites and trying to find local
Hmm.
beef and that whole thing. I love that higher end restaurants really focus on that, the ingredient cultivation and
Yeah.
really having those relationships. I wonder if that's ever something that you're running into issues with because not a lot of people are really doing that and kind of taking their farms forward.
So, I mean, you know, w- when we started Machete, it was very clear that, like, yes, we're a farm to table restaurant,
Hmm.
but the farm might not always be local.
Yeah.
Like, our kind of whole thing there is like, let's source the coolest, most unique, best ingredients.
Yeah.
If we can find them locally,
Awesome.
awesome.
Yeah.
But like, we want the best stuff.
Yeah.
We want to show people and introduce people to stuff that you can't get anywhere else.
Yeah.
Um, so a lot of our stuff is local. We do support like Harmony Ridge, which is one of our biggest weekly orders. We get all of our eggs, stuff like that from them.
Nice.
We go
Yeah.
through a lot of eggs. We'll alternate between like local beef and like the Australian that
Yeah.
we talked about, just
Yeah.
depending on what we're feeling for a new menu.
Yeah.
But yeah, our sourcing is probably one of the most stressful parts of my job. Is just figuring out and also lining up
Mm.
a consistent schedule to get that
Right.
product.
Yeah. Because you guys are on a seasonal rotation
Hmm.
basis. Yeah. Again, like, I can only imagine, like, you need this specific ingredient and, oh, well, the farm's out or the crop didn't do
Well,
well
yeah,
this
it's like
year.
after COVID, I mean, the whole supply chain
Ugh.
is messed up.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, yeah, like we plan well in advance for things to just get messed up.
Yeah.
We know it's going to happen,
Yeah.
but I'll be guaranteed something. For example, like Australian Wagyu strip loin,
Yeah.
I'll need this much every week until the menu's over, and then it's like the first week, it's like, sorry, chef, we're out, we're
Ugh.
waiting to restock. It's like, so now I don't have like,
Half your menu.
yeah,
Your big anchor.
yeah.
Yeah. Gee, do you see a way forward to show smaller farms that it does make sense for them to carry and or reach out to restaurants themselves to try to be a supply chain?
Yeah, I just think, it's going to be tough for a lot of local farms too, because it, just like the restaurant industry, they're having staffing issues.
Yeah.
They're overworked.
Yeah.
You know, they can only
Underpaid.
do so much. Each person can only do so much, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
So it's like if they're not compatible with sourcing for, you know, major restaurants,
Yeah.
you know, they might be more compatible just for like having a little shop, you know,
Mhm.
home cooks coming and
Exactly.
buying, you know, a couple pounds of meat at a time
Yeah.
versus, you know, 100 pounds a week.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I look forward to trying to cultivate some of that myself. We're building a house on a crap ton of land that we got lucky and found in Eden, North Carolina.
Hmm.
So I really look forward to being able to support local farms like that and buying half a cow and a
Yeah.
pig from them and being able to know that I can support them in that way. Because if we don't, I feel like that's going to go out the window,
Yeah.
especially with government funding starting to dwindle and
Hmm.
the generational thing, and people are just not wanting to carry that on,
Yeah.
which doesn't make sense to me at all because that's like an ideal lifestyle in my mind.
Oh yeah. Farmers are becoming more and more of like a rare breed,
Yeah,
you know.
which is so sad. I feel like that's one of the oldest type of jobs in America that feeds a large portion of the world, not just our
Hmm.
own citizens. But I wonder, like, what other than just telling people to go to farmers markets, telling people to go and buy from their local farmer or dairy or whatever. I don't know how to push it any more than that, other than I try to talk about it on here as much as I
Yeah.
humanly can.
Hmm.
But it is something where highlighting it for other people and telling people, I'm assuming your age right now, but I'm assuming we're in the same general age bracket. I'm 33 and trying to force my friends and some of the people that are a little bit older, like, hey, instead of going to Harris Teeter and picking something up, like, here's Summerfield Farms right down the road
Yeah.
or Rudd Farm or, something that's close that might have what you want instead. Like, just check there first.
Yep.
And I understand, people, high stress
Costs.
jobs, cost.
Hmm.
Local farms aren't open from 9 to 9 like a grocery store
Yeah.
is. The stock issues there as well. But I do think that it's inherently worth it. But
Hmm.
trying to show someone value, I think, is the hardest
It
job.
is. It is. I mean, that's how they get, you know, the bigger corporations get restaurants too. You know,
Yeah.
they you know, when you're a restaurant owner and you're also struggling post COVID,
Yeah.
and you know, your labor cost is up, your food cost is up, and it's like, okay, I can get Summerfield Farms, or I can, you know, I'm doing burgers, right?
Yeah.
It's just ground beef.
Yeah.
You know, nobody's gonna notice the difference.
Uh-huh.
You know, I can get Summerfield Farms, but it's, you know, $4 more a pound
Yes.
versus this big, you know, big beef
Yeah.
company, you know.
Yeah.
It's hard to not make that decision,
Yeah.
you know, as somebody who also needs to make money, and
Exactly.
you know,
Yeah.
so I get it, but I mean that's kind of how they're weeding out, you know, local farmers
Yeah.
is,
They
you
can
know,
outprice them. Just
absolutely,
the long and the short
just
of
like
it.
any other business,
True.
you know, any
Yeah.
other industry, it's the same way.
Yeah. Having to run a business and like justify prices to people.
And that's the thing too. Say we do put Summerfield, say we put on a burger at Machete and we get
Yeah.
the Summerfield Farms or like the Apple Brandy, which is probably
Yeah.
my favorite local beef farm.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's going to be $5 to $6 more a pound. So I have to incorporate that price in my menu.
Yeah.
And now everyone's leaving Google reviews that our $15 burgers way overpriced, that I can go to, you know, I can go to Chili's and
Oh
get it
my
for half the
God.
price. It's like,
Yeah.
well, you can,
You sure
and there's a
can.
reason for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we could match that price if we wanted to,
Yeah.
but then, you know, we'd
You're
be
going to
buying
disappoint
we'd be
another
buying the same
group.
shitty beef that they do, you know.
Exactly. You can't please everyone,
No, absolutely
especially in the
not.
food industry, because everyone has such specific tastes. I've got a friend that works in the baking industry, and she said, she had tons of orders, like 182, high holiday season, and she got one person that left her a little bit of negative feedback, and I was
Mhm.
like, girl, you Everyone else loved it. This is a personal taste issue. Has nothing to do with you. But it is like you are a public business.
Mhm.
You rely on having good ratings on those type of
Mhm.
websites. And to have people complain about things that they do not understand
We
the
good
process
example,
behind.
we had someone at Yokai last night, came in to eat, um, and then left at, like, 7, so busiest time of the
Mhm.
night.
Yeah.
Then they called the restaurant phone about 20 times. Obviously, we were too busy to answer.
Yeah.
They claimed that they had paid for an item that they did not receive, and immediately left a horrible
Oh
review,
my God.
1 star. When our GM called to rectify it, they both discovered that the guest was in the wrong,
Yeah.
and they
Yeah.
had made a mistake reading the receipt.
I
They
bet.
didn't realize that their tip was why the total was the way it
Well, it was.
was.
Yeah.
And they ended up saying, "Oh, well, that's my bad," but they still haven't taken down the review.
That kind of stuff, like,
Yeah.
I am not a people person per se.
Mhm.
So, like, thank God for you and you have a GM that can handle stuff like that.
Yes.
Because on top of all the stress that you've got going on in a restaurant, dealing with human beings,
Mhm.
I just, I don't think that that's possible. And I wonder for even smaller restaurants where the executive chef is all of that at the same time.
Yeah.
I I don't know how you have work-life balance, which I'm sure you've got a very understanding partner, you have to.
I do.
And it really taking a toll, stress levels from that, and just how do you not lose faith in humanity, I guess is the
I don't know, maybe I lost faith a long time ago
and you're just
in
good with it now,
humanity, and I'm
yeah.
just kinda like, it is what it
Going
is,
along
you
with it,
know?
yeah.
Um, I don't know. I've done a lot of reflecting over the years, and my fiance, I also have a son. He'll be 1 year on Friday.
Oh my God.
Um, yeah,
Well,
we got
congrats to
a
you.
lot going on.
Yeah.
She definitely is obviously at home taking care of that
Yeah.
part of life right now.
Yeah.
So I'm super thankful. And she's been very understanding with the 15-hour days
Yeah.
and just not really being able to be there. But when I come home, it's a home, I'm
Yeah.
able to cut off,
Yeah.
a little bit. But I've definitely learned to pick the mental battles every day.
For sure. You have
And
to.
really I've really gotten good at like learning the concept of, don't stress about the things that you have no control over.
Yeah. I mean, that's a major key for anyone's life.
And yeah, I did not, I refuse to be like, the chef or the person that is 45 years old, divorced
Yeah.
because just they refuse to create. You
Yeah.
have to put in the work
Yeah.
with your partner to create that work-life balance.
Yeah.
And if you put that off, you're going to end up in a place you don't want to be. And I
Yeah.
refuse to be in that place.
Unhappy, burnt out.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you gotta pick your battles,
No kidding. Yeah. I think that is a huge deal and something I see a lot of people struggle with.
Mm.
And you made a great point. I am a homemaker myself and I support my fiance in his job. And sometimes I feel like I'm doing nothing. But the fact that you articulated it pretty perfectly, you need a space to come home to
Hmm.
that is a home
Yeah.
that you can completely relax. You don't have to worry about doing X, Y, or Z. You know that you're taking care of, your child is taken care of. I think that is such a huge deal, especially for people that have highly stressful jobs.
Hmm.
It is something where you can know without a doubt that you're going to have peace. And that can be a heavy burden for the person at home too.
Absolutely. And not every day is peaceful,
Oh
I
God,
mean,
with a
if
almost 1-year-old, yeah.
but I have to be emotionally present.
Yeah.
If she's had a really rough day,
For sure.
and I get home and I've had a rough day,
Yeah.
but I've also got to realize that I'm not always going to be walking in the door and it's going to be, lovey-dovey.
Floating on air
Yeah,
and
but
yeah.
that's just part of the commitment,
Yeah. Yeah. And that's life. I mean,
You got to lean on each other.
yes, that's
And
the whole
there's
point of a
never
partner.
50-50.
No,
It's stupid.
no, it's 100.
Yeah.
And I wish that people could understand that more. But I think that we run into a culture and a generation of convenience.
Hmm.
And if it's too hard, I'll just go find someone else.
Yeah.
that's kind of sad to me. I see that a lot with some of my friends, and it's like, no, like you have to make it work
Yeah.
yourself, and they have to be on board with that too. You can't just be the only one, and finding another human being that you're willing to do that for,
Mhm.
it's like one in a million. It's gold.
It is.
And to have someone understand who you are as a human enough to be able to put their own stress and wants aside for a moment, huge deal, huge deal. And I think that gets left out of a lot of those conversations.
Yeah.
You need to set like a base level ground rules, like here's how I want to live my life,
Yeah.
how do you want to live your life, do those go together, and then go from there, instead of just, oh well, this is too hard now, I'm going to be done.
Yeah.
I I think that you also have something really cool going on at Yokai. You are doing in-house spirits, correct?
Mhm.
I have no clue what that means.
Spirits is just alcohol.
Just liquors, basically?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, a lot of ABC stores are, it'll say like spirits,
Yeah.
liquor and
Yeah.
spirits. Yeah, I mean,
Interchangeable.
it's another word for
Yeah.
alcohol.
So you guys are fermenting your own.
Well, no, we do. Our alcohol program is really like sake, Japanese
Gotcha.
beer forward.
Yeah.
We've got slushy machines, so we'll do
Oh,
like
yeah.
rotating sake like slushies.
Oh my gosh.
It's very much it's very similar to like Machete's cocktail menu, um, but a little less, fine dining, a little more like,
Casual.
we've got to drink with Kool-Aid.
Elevated
We've got to
casual.
drink with Kool-Aid
I
in it.
mean,
So
that's a great idea.
very. I mean, okay, I could be totally wrong though, because at Machete we have a drink that tastes like a cheeseburger. So
What?
yeah, yeah. So
Wha-
it's like it's got like a mustard and ketchup simple syrup, and it tastes like a Big Mac.
I had no clue.
Um,
I don't drink personally. I used to, and I've lost that privilege, if that makes any sense.
Yeah,
So that's really intriguing to me though. And I saw that before you guys had your liquor license, you were doing a lot of like mocktails and stuff like
yeah.
that.
We had to.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we had to offer something.
Yeah.
Know.
Are you carrying that over now that you do have the ability?
We'll always have mocktails.
Okay, gotcha.
We definitely want to provide for people who choose not to drink for
Yeah.
whatever reason.
Yeah.
So we'll always have that option, and we've talked about always having like one of our slushies always being non-alcoholic
Yeah.
just for kids or
Exactly.
whoever. So
Yeah. Do you have a lot more kids coming into Yokai so far?
not lately, but I mean, it's hard to tell too. It's so early.
Yeah, true.
Early in.
Yeah.
A lot of people also wait for the initial rush of
Yeah.
the opening to like
Peter out.
come in.
Yeah.
So
And you're open Thursdays, yes?
yes.
Okay. Yeah, my fiance's birthday is tomorrow. I'm going to try to convince him to leave our home and to go out into the world, and I want to try yokai, obviously. So
Mhm.
I'm going to push for that. And we're both big, I mean, just any type of Asian food, like my go-to comfort food now is like a tikka masala or a curry. So
Oh
I
yeah.
give me anything like that and I'm going to be a happy camper. And I've peeked at your menu a little bit, but I don't want to peek too much because I want to be
Yeah.
there and enjoy it and not have preconceived like, oh, I want to order this, because my anxiety tends to tell me to do that, to search the menu before I go somewhere.
Definitely get the donuts.
I've seen a picture of those.
And you
Those
have to
look
try
killer.
the fried chicken. I mean,
I mean, of
that's-
course.
I think that's going to be more of our staple than the ramen is.
Really?
Yeah.
That's really cool. Have you gotten any feedback so far?
I mean, people love it.
That's killer, dude. I'm so excited. And your location is really interesting.
Hmm.
I keep trying to like place it on a map in my head, but I'm directionally challenged.
It's in this little underdeveloped section of like North downtown going
Yeah.
into Fisher Park. But
Okay, yeah,
we
yeah.
totally like with Neighbors opening up right there too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we're right in that little area,
Mhm.
and we have this vision for that area. I mean, it takes, a couple of good places to inspire
Yeah.
other local business owners to do something,
Yeah.
you know. But yeah, I think we're gonna see a lot of growth in that area, especially with Tanger Center. I mean, it's like
You
it's like a
yeah.
1 minute walk.
That's
So
I think that has done a lot for downtown too, especially after COVID when we saw a lot of people have to leave,
mhm.
which really sucked because Greensboro is like a small big city, and to see a lot of empty storefronts down there, and just really, that was rough. And even spilling out into some of the smaller areas, I would love to see, not that I'm trying to pitch you because I have no leads on this for you at all, but since we're moving to the middle of nowhere,
Mhm.
we would love to try to convince eventually somebody to make some kind of investment of time and space there to have something different, because there's a lot of people moving back home that
Yeah.
grew up there. And in our age bracket, I see a huge audience for that. And selfishly, obviously, I want something there as
Yeah.
well. Reedsville's pretty close.
Mhm.
Danville's right up the road. They just opened that casino. I think even putting
Yeah.
something in Danville, they could use it because they don't have much right now.
Mhm.
And having, like, being able to see that investment back into small communities, which even to me, Greensboro is still one of those, is really important and takes a lot of effort.
Yeah.
So thank you to you for continuing to try to broaden the horizons down there. I think it's really necessary, and I look forward to eating there as well.
Yeah, I mean, we want to bring things to Greensboro that like we love to go to when we go to like a bigger food city.
Yeah.
You know, like I really cook things that I wish we had here
Right.
in Greensboro. You
Yeah.
know, like the places that I seek out when I'm going to Nashville or Charleston or
Yeah.
Asheville. It's like we want to bring that stuff here.
Yeah. And we should have it here.
Hmm.
Again, like I think that this city is kind of going through its own little mini renaissance right now too, and it's so important to keep people coming here in small families and like early on in their family career to move here, stay here, raise their kids here.
Yeah.
I see a lot of value in that too, and you are definitely helping that out, and I hope that more people will come and hang out. I want to give you this second to kind of give us your hours, your spiel, anything that you want to mention about Machete or Yokai so that everybody
Yeah.
that's listening can come.
Yeah, I mean, as far as Machete, we're open Tuesday through Saturday just for dinner.
Yeah.
We open at 5. And I think we take reservations up until like 9 o'clock. Tuesday through Thursday, Friday, Saturday, it's up to 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
With Yokai, we're still kind of playing around with the hours that we want. Right now, we're kind of running a 5 till
Yeah.
schedule.
Yeah.
So we just kind of fill it out, make a call when we need to make a call. Eventually, we want to get into the possibility of opening Sundays during the day, kind of
Yeah.
like a 12 to 7 shift. So we know there's a market for that already. And
For
like
sure.
Neighbors is open Sundays as well.
Yeah.
And we're definitely going to try to like feed off of each other, you know,
Yeah.
like send people to Neighbors to get a drink and then come to us or vice versa.
For sure.
But yeah, for right now, it's like just 5 till. So
Yeah.
I'd say 5 to 10, basically.
Whenever everyone leaves. Yeah.
Tuesday through Saturday. And then I think down the road too, we'll at least do some sort of like to go type thing,
Oh,
like
yeah.
DoorDash, you know, whichever is the least bad of all of those
Right. Yeah.
companies.
The least evil option. Yeah.
Yeah.
Killer. And this is just for me, my own personal knowledge, is there parking adjacent?
Machete parking can get pretty full with
Mhm.
joymongers right there.
Yeah.
And luckily, Deep Roots doesn't mind people, you know, using that
Oh,
parking
yeah,
lot
yeah,
for
yeah.
like joymongers and all the local places.
Yeah.
But Yokai, there's like 8,000 parking
Always.
spaces.
Gotcha,
there's
yeah.
street parking everywhere. There's, you know, last resort, there's the parking garage
Yeah.
for Marriott.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So you'd have to pay to get into that, but that's
Yeah.
like
Nominal.
I don't
Yeah.
see that being the case for a while
Yeah.
until a lot more stuff opens up over there.
Yeah. Well, I hope that it happens sooner rather than later.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate
Absolutely.
it. And I will put links for everyone listening down so that they can make a reservation, know where to go, and look forward to eating there soon.
Awesome. Thank you.
you.